Good evening. Welcome to episode number 7 of the E.A.T podcast. I'm your host, Jerry, and the big guy over there is Russ. Russ, how you been?
Very good.
You had a week off last week. Everything taken care of? You're all good? That rash is gone?
The rash just spread.
Oh, no. Oh, no. All right. Well, tonight we're going to have the Power Journalist Markos Papadatos. But first, we're going to get through current events, and then we'll get right into our interview. Russ, you want to take us to current events?
Sure. The big news is Bill and Melinda Gates getting divorced. I guess nobody saw that coming. Pretty much dominating the headlines for the most part. It should be noted that there was no prenup, so this will be interesting in stock to her. So maybe they made it. And, I know people always see Bill Gates as building his empire, but she was a pivotal part in all his organization. So, interesting to see, though. I don't think it will, but I think everyone on the planet who has a TV or a phone is seeing what's going on. But J-Lo is from Ben here, going back to former Flame Ben.
Yeah.
She can't be along 5 minutes, apparently. Spotted in the months over the weekend. And but they're just friends, and that's just bullshit. So they goes further. She's going to get another ring and be closer. But I would say if she gets that ring from Ben, there should be an asterisk with it. So Tom Brady's right now should be safe at the moment.
He should be safe.
For those who were big fans of Whitesnake in the 80s, very dancer or model, he passed away at the age of 59. I think for the most part, she was in the iconic music video "Here I Go" on I forget if it was a Corvette or whatnot, but
Here I Go Again.
I think she was also in the movie Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks. I'm not sure though, but that's what he said. People that we remember now, and we're getting older, and slowly, our idols and teenage crushes are starting to go now.
Yeah, it's it makes you feel old. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
So this past weekend on SNL, Saturday Night Live, we had Elon Musk, the Doge father, hosting the show. And I know you're involved in it. I'm not. I say this every week. I'm just not gonna. I'm not buying crypto. I'm just not. But that's my personal opinion. But over the course of the build-up leading to the show, the Dogecoin exploded, and I guess it was sell the news as he was broadcasting on SNL because Dogecoin plummeted during the show, going from roughly a high of around 70 cents and plummeted down into like the 40s. And wouldn't you know it, but Robinhood, again, restricts the selling of crypto, has a website or app malfunction at 12:15 in the morning, and social media explodes again with Robinhood this and Robinhood that. I mean, what is it going to take for these investors to get off the platform? I don't use it. I'm an E-Trade guy myself and Charles Schwab. But I mean, it's countless issues over and over again now. We're seeing this week after week. Russ, you're on Robinhood. Tell us about it. I mean, like you said last week, you had the issue with selling stuff. And now, again, this issue on Saturday. What's going on over there?
Yeah, they can't get, especially having large volume. And the question is it the volume or are they trying to manipulate it? Like I said, is the ease of use. I like the way everything reads. And like I said, I have an E-Trade account as well. And I feel like I got to be a damn technical analyst to understand what the hell I'm buying.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and I know that I'm a beginner investor for the last year maybe, and there's a lot of people that are similar to me that, like I said, Robinhood makes it easy. And the unfortunate part of that is, people that got in early with the Doge. I'm done with it. I'm calling it dog. It's people that got in early they a lot of them think that they're all freaking crypto experts and stock traders now and day traders and it's getting tiring.
Yeah,
I don't know. Robinhood's got to get their shit together, or they got to do something. But it's getting
they
people.
got to do something.
More people are leaving. Eventually, some with another platform that's similar and easy to use, and they're going to trump them.
I believe so.
Although I don't know if it was so much of a sell the news thing. It was noted that he kind of called it a hustle, and that's when things started to go down. I don't think he meant it in the fact of, it's a scam. I think he meant that you gotta, kind of play the highs and lows, buy the dips, and it's a roller coaster. I don't think he meant it in that way. It's a scam, but I think a lot of people took it that way. And yes, it took a big dip, and I'm still profiting, but we'll see what happens. But the crypto is a crazy roller coaster. So, and did you watch anything good this weekend?
So yeah, I want to get into real quick. The WWE is doing A&E is doing a documentary series on WWE stars of yesteryear, basically. And last week, the Macho Man one came out, and yes. I'm telling you, after watching that, his in-ring personality basically carried over into his real life, and he was very controlling of the women in his life. And then at the end of the show, you see Lex Luger, and I mean, my God, what happened to that guy?
If you see Lex now, I mean, Jesus, he looks like some brittle old man. I couldn't believe, my wife couldn't believe it. And my with us, she's only 8, and she was like, "Who is that guy?" And as they were showing the prime, they were like, "He's that guy." My daughter's like, "That's the same guy." But Macho Man, I think he kind of took him down a peg. He was very controlling, and everybody loves the personality. It's Macho. Oh yeah, brother! You know what we're gonna do here is we're gonna come on and we're gonna read the script into our podcast. Oh yeah! Everyone loves that personality. He did that pretty well. Everyone loved that personality, but the reality of it was he took that personality home. And he may not have been physically abusive, but he was certainly verbally abusive and controlling. And Gorgeous George, putting cameras in her house. I loved Macho Man, but I think I kind of applaud biography in A&E for surreal him. They didn't pull any punches, and they the real Macho Man, and like I said, I don't think he was a scumbag, but he definitely carried that personality, home, and it definitely, I think in part way, he's responsible for Elizabeth's demise. She got controlled so much over the years, it probably put her into such a bad mental state, and then she met Lex Luger, and he turned her on to drugs, and you never know it too that she was a drug addict and had a problem from the way she looked in the ring,
No, you had no idea. You had no idea. But there's
surprise news, the Kentucky Derby winner tested positive for. I got to read this word here.
Good luck.
He did meth. Apparently, he was anti-inflammatory, and for one, it's good news. You get to keep your money. For the trainers, the jockey themselves, they got to give them a deal. The owner himself said that they had no idea about this, but from what I understand, you have to. You can take this. Well, the horse can take this, but it has to be out of there 16 days before a race. So I'm going to assume that they're allowed to take this anti-inflammatory deal from training, but once you get closer to the race, the horse has to be au naturel. So
and that wasn't the case.
We'll see what happens there, but obviously, I don't remember this happening in such a big race before. I'm not really a horse racing guy, but it's pretty shocking for most people, I guess.
I don't remember someone getting stripped of a win in this big of a race in a while. And I mean, I watched the Big Three. I won't tell you I go to the track or anything, but I'll watch the Big Three on TV just to see who's winning and who's doing what and who's there. I saw Tom Brady there. I mean, that was good.
That's half the reason people watch. They want to see what Tom Brady's going to dress like in their ridiculous freaking hats, and he looked like some sort of evil villain from a freaking 80s cartoon.
So keeping with the NFL theme for a sec, real quick, your wife is going to be excited about this. Let her know. Tim Tebow's coming back to the NFL. He signed a 1-year deal, or is about to sign a 1-year deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars to be their tight end.
Yes, and to quote my wife, she loves his tight
Well, I lost you here, Russ. Lost the Russ the feed, I think. Technical difficulties here, but hopefully we'll get Russ back. I'm gonna take over for a sec here, and here we go. We got Russ. Russ, you back?
I'm back. I messed up that intro there.
Wow, what happened?
Well, I to optimum to my internet speed, and apparently that's not the problem. So I guess we narrowed it down. It's my computer.
Oh boy!
I guess once we become big enough money, I can buy a new computer.
All right, we'll work on that. We'll get some advertising going. But so tonight we'll go around the bases. We'll do some basketball, baseball. We'll do some hockey. But right now we're going to get to our guest. He's known as the Power Journalist. He's won the Best of Long Island 5 years in a row for numerous categories. He's also co-authored an inspirational book, Manifesting Your Dreams. Welcome to the E.A.T podcast, Markos Papadatos. Markos!
Hey, guys. Hi.
Hey, what's going on?
Good.
How are you?
Good.
All right. Russ is having some difficulties, but we're going to try and keep him going here.
Cool.
Russ, you there?
I see him frozen.
Yeah, I see him frozen. All right, Markos. Well, yeah, Russ, you're cutting in and out. Markos, you hear me though, right? We're good to go?
Perfectly, yeah.
All right, beautiful. We're going to get Russ working on his stuff. All right, so Markos, welcome to the show, the Power Journalist. I'm very excited about this. Russ got this going for us, and welcome to the show. This is great. I want to hear all about you. The name, the Power Journalist. How did that come to fruition? Is that something you created, or did someone else give you that name?
All the publicists started calling me that because I write the articles so fast. Within like 20, 30 minutes, the articles are written. Boom, to the next one.
Oh, wow. That quick, huh?
Yeah, Russell knows because, yeah, the moment I go to review, by the time I get home, it's written in half an hour later.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Russ, you back with us, buddy?
I think so. I hope so.
All right. I hope so.
I got to ask a question. Where exactly did I cut off? Because I read his whole intro, and then all of a sudden I got cut off, and then you read his intro, and I maybe think that, all right, nobody even freaking heard me.
I didn't hear anything you said. You froze on my end. I think you froze on Marcos's end, too.
All right. So, like we said, we're going to have to get some advertising in here so I can buy a new computer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Markos, let me ask you a question here. So you got the Power Journalist name. Is that something that was self-coined, or did someone give that to you, or how did that whole thing come about?
The publicists started calling me that because I turned them around so quick, the articles.
Okay. All right.
Markos, when you realized you had a passion for journalism,
yeah,
especially interviews, when did you realize this? I mean, growing up, did you just want to start interviewing people and asking questions, or was it
always?
So curiosity was your thing?
Since high school, but they would never publish me there because back then I was into country music and it was taboo in New York.
Yes, it was.
I could never get a country article published in my high school newspaper, and they told me you're wasting your time. But then once they got a country station in New York, I was country when country wasn't cool.
I remember I remember back in the day when country wasn't cool in New York also. I was like, oh, it'll never be anything. This is not down south. This is not out west.
Exactly.
And
now
the
it's
next
the
thing
number
you know,
one market for country is New York.
now it's huge. It's unreal. I mean, concerts are selling out, and it's unreal.
Exactly. Good time.
So, Mark, you know, what exactly started you though with the interview process? Like, how did you get interviewing, and what do you think was your big break?
In Queens College, my college newspaper, I just started. They were looking for staff writers at the time, so I decided to join. And then I covered local events on campus, and people were responding well to it. I'm like, oh, I can do this for the rest of my life. And sure enough, I built a track record and a scrapbook, and then I had enough success to keep going.
All right.
So, Markos, you've done 15,000 plus interviews and counting.
15,500.
15,500. Let me ask you: has it been easy getting that many?
Yeah, well, these days it's very easy because.
So I want to get into that. Do you get turned down a lot in the beginning, and now with a number like that, and the social media following that you have, and the company that's behind you, and everything else, is the pitch to celebrities easy now? Over the course of these years, what's the pitch basically? Hey, I'm Markos. I've interviewed 15,500. Let's chat.
At this rate, yeah, pretty much. Or they know by the time I finish the one, they'll have like 2 or 3 lined up for me.
Okay.
It's good to be Prince. It is. My biggest problem is who to say no to every day, because every Friday is New Music Friday, so I get 2,000 to 3,000 requests. Every new song in the world comes out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's good to play Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo.
Wow, 2,000 to 3,000 requests.
Yeah.
That's
weekly. No, on New Music every Friday for New Music Fridays.
Oh, okay.
That's like my Monday, which is
So, not that I'm becoming, but let's say I want to become a journalist in general. What do you think would be the best thing for me to do to succeed? Like, what helped you succeed growing up as far as becoming a journalist, and what advice would you have for people?
Start early, like get published anywhere you can. Join your college or high school newspaper, anything. Write as much as possible. Develop a scrapbook. Yeah, it's all about maintaining a record and give people a reason for them to listen to you. Like if I want to pitch somebody, I'd be like, oh, listen, be a fan of their work. Show them like a review of their song. Give the publicist a reason for them to want to pitch you their client. It's all about relationship, this industry.
So, Markos, how long have you been at Digital Journal? And I know your position now there is the editor at large. Was that something you immediately went into, or was that something that eventually you got elevated to?
I got elevated. I started, I think, when was it, 2013 with them. So I've been with them eight and a half years. Okay. And then like a year or two, I got elevated to editor at large for music and entertainment. So that was cool.
And how has it been working for them with COVID and everything? And how has it been working with them with COVID and everything? Are you working remote, basically at home, or
I
know there's not a lot of shows going on right now, but
as far as getting interviews, during COVID, I'm busier than ever because people have, although the events are getting canceled, people are like releasing music day and night. They're working on some stuff, so and then now there's more time for them to talk to you.
Okay.
Every publicist is on their computer trying to do work, so of course they pitch it to Markos because they know it's going to get done. Boom, pow.
With COVID,
put them out.
With COVID, though, do you miss going to see? It's just meeting people in person, interviews. I mean, everything's got to be on the computer now, and it's.
Yeah, it is boring. I miss the outside world. Like 2017, I reviewed 282 shows that year. Now this year it's still 0.
Wow.
It was fun.
Wow.
Good times. And then last year I only did 33 shows, and that was before COVID. So yeah.
COVID started in March. So yeah, you had that quick little thing going, and that was it.
No, it was sad.
I got to ask you. A journal, you love them. put them aside for a minute. What would be your dream media job? I mean, Rolling Stone, something like that. Like, what would be your dream job to hold?
Hmm.
Am I frozen again?
No, not at
No, I'm
all.
just thinking.
He's thinking.
I
I might
love
have
Rolling
stumped him.
Stone, even though I
Oh,
love
okay.
Rolling Stone, even though lately I feel like
got-
there's not enough music. What's that? Sorry. Say that again, Russ.
No. I was waiting on your answer. What would be your dream job to hold?
Rolling Stone,
As
but
far
like
as in
in
journalism.
the 90s, back when it covered music, not like all the other reality stuff that it cover these days in the politics.
Yeah, no
So they actually-
politics, no politics, no reality TV.
Kind of like MTV.
Like MTV in the years that it played music, like the eight years of music. So yeah.
I don't even know if they have music anymore. I mean, they just run reruns of was it Rob Dyrdek's show, Ridiculous, which I do enjoy. But I saw a thing the other day that said the world only started going to shit playing music.
It is. Well, there's no. It's sad. It doesn't play that much music. It's all like real world and stuff. I'm like, really? Come on. I miss it. I miss the old days when I miss the pre.
You think about older. You went from Saturday morning cartoons to the MTV One Countdown Saturday morning, and you got to see what was popular. Two different kind of. The MTV was edgy, one being more the laid back, but you kind of sat there watching all the music videos Saturday morning.
I love that stuff. That's what I lived for. It was like the coolest thing. Remember back in like the 2000, it was like Smash Mouth, all the boy bands.
So Markos, 15,000 plus.
Blink. Gotta love Blink.
15,000 plus interviews. You name it, you've basically done it. Artists, athletes. Can you give us who has been your favorite? And I guess if you want to do athlete and artist for us, who has been your favorite in each category that you've interviewed and why?
Stevie Nicks, Tina Turner.
How come?
The rock goddesses, the queens of rock and roll. And, it's like their careers speak for themselves. And Aerosmith, Steven Tyler and Brad Whitford of Aerosmith was a fun one. Armin van Buuren in electronic dance music. Megadeth, Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, because he's edgier. He was like, had some politics, and it was cool. It's you get all these different genres. It's cool. You never know what to expect.
Did you do him in person, or is it a phone interview, or what?
Phoner.
I would have thought that'd be cool.
That would have been cool, yeah. Dolly Parton was a fun one.
Who?
Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton. Yeah.
Yeah, she's got huge accent.
And in sports, my favorite is Caleb Dressel. Watch him this summer at the Olympics.
Caleb
Dressel, the swimmer, my favorite.
Yeah, you're very big into the swimming and the
He's
track and
gonna break
field.
all these world records. Yeah, I love track and field. And Mondo, and little Mondo.
Well, since you're big into the swimming, you ever touched on
which one?
Touched on Michael Phelps? Did you ever meet or interview Michael Phelps?
Once.
That's the greatest of all time in my book. No one's going to come close to that guy.
I also liked Ryan Lochte. Was a fun one for me. I loved him. I feel he's very misunderstood.
Was that pre or post the drama that he had?
Post. It was like 2 months ago, and then last year. So we spoke twice recently. And my heart goes out to him because he's done so much for our country, and he's like the second most decorated swimmer out there, and he's trying to make the team this year. So, and he's older. He's the only swimmer that's older than me. It's crazy. Everybody else is like teenagers. All these college freshmen. It's crazy that are coming out.
So I gotta ask now, what was your favorite in concert experience or sporting event? Like, what was couple of your favorite shows that you've gone to or sporting events that you've been to that really, were in your top 5?
Queen and Adam Lambert, Billy Joel, who I've seen like 100 times.
Oh, that's got to be up
He
there.
always puts on a good show. I've seen quite a few too. He really does put on a solid show.
Elton John. With Hillary and Bill Clinton sitting right behind me.
That's interesting.
I had better seats than them, being a power journalist. And, oh gosh, so many amazing
Well, I guess that's what
Yeah.
you're the power journalist to get better seats than Bill and Hillary.
Exactly. The two, concerts. Billy Joe. I should know this. Billy Joe. Imagine Dragons. I love live. They're amazing.
Really?
Imagine
Haven't
Dragons.
seen them.
So good. And
have you ever seen Coldplay?
yes, at MetLife Stadium. MetLife?
Yep.
Very good. I love Chris Martin.
Russ and I saw Coldplay in Philadelphia. And we went to Philly with our new Ranger shirts on.
and stayed in a mold infested hotel that we got kicked out of.
Oh boy, what a story.
But we saw live at the Eagle Stadium in Lincoln Financial Field. And I know a lot of people have comments about Coldplay, but they put on a phenomenal.
They're great. And he's a really nice guy. He's a great interview, Chris Martin.
I think we lost.
The music played, depending on what section you were in, lit up. Would be flashing different colors, and as far as an entertainer, they put on really did a great job.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy, Chris Martin.
So Markos, who surprised you the most in your interview history? Now let me ask you, if a surprise could be something you thought went really well that you didn't think was going to be that good, or even something that you weren't even that interested in doing, but ended up doing, and you were like, oh, it wasn't that bad after I was done, and this person was interesting. Who would fit that topic?
Back in like 2011, I was about 2010 or 2011, I was about to quit journalism, and then I interviewed Joe Jonas, and he was like the nicest guy in the world, and that's back when the Jonas Brothers were in their peak. So I'm like, oh, if these kids could be respectful and like humble, then there's hope for the rest of them.
Okay,
that surprised me. And one of my worst shows ever was Marilyn Manson at the Paramount.
Really?
Wasn't that the show that he
was
walked
that
off stage?
time? He did like a Valentine's show. He did like the same 2.5 songs over and over, and he like flipped the audience off because he was having a bad time, and then he stormed off the stage.
Wow.
So it was me and Newsday. We had to break out that show, that review to the world, and it went viral for the wrong reasons. But he was just a train wreck. Marilyn Manson.
And
just piggyback.
Who would you say? Go ahead, Russ. Go ahead.
No,
go ahead. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, Google Marilyn Manson.
Well, I was going to piggyback off that.
Well,
I'm going to piggyback off that and sort of, okay, aside from Manson, though, what interview would you have gone into really excited and came out disappointed? Did they really disappointed you? If you're willing to say that.
Sebastian Bach.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were excited to see him. He turned out to be a jerk.
He had to call me. Yeah, over the phone. Yeah, I guess.
What's that?
I guess he didn't know that he was supposed to do the interview with me at that time. He called me, and then he's like, "I need my effing coffee." And he had to call me later, and then it was like pulling teeth getting all those answers. It was horrible. He was like a true train wreck. I had to like prompt him for like every answer, and his answers were like stupid and like boring. So yeah.
Wow.
It was like, what a deuce.
Markos, who would you say who would you say was the biggest influence for you in your career?
In journalism or just in music?
In journalism, like you look up to, like Larry King, Howard Stern is a good interviewer. Oprah Winfrey is a good interviewer.
I love Howard Stern, and I love Howard Stern. I love the Edward R. Murrow back in the day. Remember the Good Night and Good Luck was one of my favorite movies when it came out. I just love like real, like Ernie Anastos, like real storytelling, positive people. And Greek helps, I'm into the Greek people. So yeah. As Russell may know, I'm the biggest Chris Angel fan in the world, so I love that stuff. People, Greek, Long Island, and all that stuff, it helps.
All right, so I'm going to throw a curveball in here. Aside from your mother, because I know your mother's been a big support system for you. Who would be influence in your life, not in journalism, your mother?
Chris Angel is one of them. Who else? All these. I like Tim Tebow that you mentioned earlier because I love like the philanthropic work he does with all these hospitals around the world. Him, I've always wanted to interview. I can never get him, but if you're out there, Tim, I'll make some time for you.
Wow, you haven't had Tim Tebow yet. That's a good one.
That's a good one, but I know he sons a lot of them because I feel like they wouldn't do him justice. So yeah, I feel I could get a good story out of him because I'm anti-TMZ. That stood me out in this business.
All right, I'm going to ask a couple. Two. One would be, you look very excited. So first question is, in the tri-state area, big venue though. You're talking the Prudential Center in Jersey, the Gauge, Jones Beach, either the Barclays Center or the Coliseum. What would be your big venue? Really, you love to see a show.
In Manhattan, it's MSG, Madison Square Garden, Beacon Theater, and Radio City at Carnegie Hall. My favorite.
And now, what would be your best local spot? I mean, you've got Mulcahy's, you got
the Paramount in Huntington.
Yeah, I've been there a couple times. It's a great place to see a show.
Paramount in Huntington.
It's a great place. He's really driving home.
Yep.
All right, so I got
best venue of Long Island 2021. They know what they're voting. Best venue 2021. Paramount in Huntington.
All right.
And I missed Revolution. Revolution used to be fun before they closed it.
That was Amityville, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a fun one. Intimate. It was nice. I saw some good shows there. Russell?
I think we lost Russ again.
No.
Russ, are you there, buddy?
Am I here?
Yeah, I got you.
No.
Yeah.
Now we hear you.
Yep, we got you.
All right. All right.
Well, for a guy that upgraded his internet.
I know.
Oh, God.
You hear me now?
That was like too small.
Yeah, I got you, Russ.
Yeah. Oh,
all
God,
right.
That was forever ago, the Crazy Donkey.
I know, but they used to have some decent shows there. And then the one that was in Patchogue that changed names.
Oh, yeah, the Emporium.
The Emporium. They
I hated that venue.
There.
I hated that venue.
I never ever went
venue.
there, but it was. I mean, it was
Lucky.
Prime spot. Just
Lucky. You're not missing much. You didn't miss much. I hated that venue.
All right. But I didn't really hear great things.
But Webster Hall is great in Manhattan too.
Yeah. Did you ever go to 89 North?
Yes. Yes, many times.
Decent things about that one.
It's good. It's good. A lot of the Idol alums played there, and they did like a lot of the emo bands played there. You know, the guy William Key, the guy from Yellow Card, played there. It was fun.
Okay. And I guess I meant to ask this before, speaking about Idol alums. You said Queen with Adam Lambert was one of your favorite shows. I always liked Queen, and after seeing the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, it just exploded. I really, really enjoy them. And even though obviously Freddie's not coming back from the dead, maybe if you give him the COVID vaccine, something will happen. He'll turn into his actor. But I heard Adam Lambert is phenomenal. And I heard they still put on a great show, and I really want to see them. And you enjoyed them that much?
Yeah, so we're great. And the moment they retweeted my review, I was the happiest guy in the world. They retweeted it. I was like, that's like a childhood dream come true when they liked it so much. Queen.
All right, that's great. I guess moving part of the Donna Drake show, and that was CBS. How did that come about, and what was your role there? Yeah, how did that come about?
Associate producer.
You were associate producer?
Well, we co-authored the book together. What's that?
No, producer with them?
Yeah, we co-authored a book together, Manifesting Your Dreams. He had a chapter and I had one, and then we just clicked, and yeah, it's been really great, the Donna Drake show. Did I lose you again?
Well, we were going to touch on that next with the inspirational book. What was your motivation behind that and writing a book with that?
I was approached to write it many, many years ago, and then I wrote it. And then it came out like 1 or 2 years later, and I forgot what I had written because, I write so much, and to publish a book, it takes like 1 or 2 years minimum because it goes through edits and publishers and deadlines back and forth. And when you're writing it with other people, everybody has to like be on board and whatnot. So yeah, it was just telling my story in 15 pages a chapter, and it was great. Plus pictures, and yeah, just shared what sparked me, how I was the kid that liked country music in New York that made it in power journalism as the best of Long Island.
You've won 5 Best of Long Island awards, or I'm sorry, you've won Best of Long Island 5 years in a row in numerous categories.
That was so great.
Best poet, best blogger, best personality, best author, best blog, best Twitter. I'm sure I'm missing 1 or 2. But what are you most proud of out of all the awards you've won from Best of Long Island? And what haven't you won yet that you want to get this year or next?
I was happiest that I got the personality because I went to my childhood hero, Billy Joel, 6 times. So to be in the same list as him, like to be in the same sentence with him and Brimstone is like incredible. It's like 2 great people. They do so much for Long Island, Brimstone and Billy Joel. And I think I've won everything that I qualify for because everything else, the only thing, it's like mascot, but they have like mascot or what else? Yeah, there's nothing else that I qualify for, so I'm happy with the 4 that I won. But they keep adding categories every year, so who knows?
Maybe we'll get you baking or barbecuing or something. You could do that next.
Yeah. My mom should submit for best Spinach pie, but she's too shy to submit. She should submit for her cooking, but she's like, Marcos, you're the ambitious one. I just live through you. I'm like, okay, Mom, but I want you to win for the best food, the best spinach pie. She gets robbed every year. We know she has the best spinach pie in Long Island. Just ask Ricky and Alan.
My wife loves spinach pie, so I might have to test.
Let's come over. We'll have a tray for you, Russ.
All right.
Cool. I wanted her to win someday.
Obviously, I'm assuming you're all happy with the digital journal, but where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Like, is there anything like more you want to accomplish? I mean, do you have larger dreams? I mean, where do you see yourself roughly?
I want to go to 25,000 articles, and maybe by then I might open my own PR firm because, look, I do the publicist's job better than they do at this stage of the game. So, yeah.
So 10,000 articles, you'll be there tomorrow, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, we'll see. Or I might I might turn a lot of these articles into books because I've done a lot on the same people, and I could easily turn them into books. So that'll keep me gainfully busy for the rest of my life and on work that I've already done. So it's exciting. Good times, Russell. I'm so happy. Best job in the world.
Listen, that's the whole point. I guess we want to enjoy what we do for a living, and you seem very excited to talk about it.
I can work 7 days a week all day long. It's pleasure. It's not even work. Telling the stories. It's all about bringing it to life and doing them justice.
Yeah. Jerry?
All right, Markos, this was great. I want to thank you for coming on.
The girl was mine.
Love the stories. When you hit 25,000, come back on again and let us know how the next 10,000 have gone from the first 15. Love to hear all about it. You guys can find him on Twitter at the Power Journalist. And Russ, anything else?
Yeah, I only got 2 requests. If you ever get to interview Tim Tebow, my wife gets to be there. And if you ever get to interview Kate Beckinsale or Anna Kendrick, I'd like to be your security for the day.
You got it.
My wife just yelled from the other room. I heard that.
For Tim Tebow, you got it.
I understand if I could pull Anna Kendrick with this mug. I mean, I am the Brad Pitt of fat people, but if I could pull Anna Kendrick, my wife's got to give me credit for that.
I tried for her once, but it was during the Cups time, so I could never get her. They declined me back in the Cups days.
Wow.
I forgot what label she was on.
My wife just yelled.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Markos. It was a pleasure having you on, and like we said, get to those 25,000, and hopefully again, and can share some more stories.
Yeah, thanks, Markos.
Some spinach pie. We'll get you some spinach pie, WrestleMania.
Yes, definitely some spinach pie.
Yay.
All right, thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Bye, WrestleMania. Bye, Jerry.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. All right, 15,000 and counting. That was fun.
It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Absolutely, it's a lot of work. But you heard him, Russ. He cranks them out like it's nothing. He gets 2,000 requests in a week. I mean, oh my God.
That's crazy. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even know if I get 2,000 emails. I just go, whoop. Oh, we sent you that email. Yeah. Oh, I must have not got it. Sorry. Oh, you sent that 5 days ago? Oh, yeah. 5,000 emails later.
Yeah. It's buried.
It's buried amongst the, we're trying to reach you, but your car is extended.
And you have high student loan debt.
Yes.
All right, so let's get into some hockey here because there's a lot going on with the playoffs right around the corner.
All right, we'll jump right into the East Division. The Penguins have locked that one up, and for most, believe that's probably the toughest division in hockey. I would have to agree, but Washington came in a close second, and Boston, the Islanders fought off, and the Rangers had a shot there for a while, and then some craziness happened, and they they imploded against the Islanders first for 2 straight games, and
that was the season right there.
That was the season, and then pretty much had the craziest ending to any season I've seen, at least. But we're going to get into that after we finish. Jerry, you want to take the Central?
So you got Carolina. Carolina's won the Central. They surprised me. Honestly, with Tampa not having their 2 big stars, I guess you could say you didn't think Tampa was going to win the division, but I don't know. Carolina, with Tampa getting their 2 guys back, I think Carolina's going to get beat in the playoffs anyway. I think Tampa's coming out of there, but you got Tampa in second, Florida in third. Nashville just clinched that last spot, and for the first time ever, we are going to see an Florida or Florida Tampa Bay playoff series, and I think Tampa's coming out of that no matter what. Tampa's going to roll through them.
Yeah, they. I don't see the Panthers keeping up with them, but it should be interesting seeing a interstate rivalry in Florida that never happened before. So the bigger question though in the Central though is, if I'm understanding this correctly, you got Carolina who finished one of the best records in the league, and Brendan Moore's not signing an extension. I mean,
Yeah, why?
I
What's
don't
going
know,
on there?
something odd there. I mean, listen, I can understand if they won the cup last year, or if this is the year they win the cup, but to not sign an extension is something interesting going on there. I mean, I don't know where he's from, but maybe he likes to reside out west and sees the Coyotes job and wants to go home. Maybe he came from the upper northwest and wants the Seattle job. I don't know. It's just odd that the success he had with Carolina won't sign an extension. So it's kind of an interesting situation.
So I'm thinking you have Ron Francis in Seattle, right?
Yes, he's the GM in Seattle.
So
You
that's the connection. That's the connection right there. Now, money's going to talk. I mean, money's going to talk. So if Carolina blows away Seattle's offer, if it is Seattle or Arizona, I would think he would stay. But as far as going to a new team, I would be up for the challenge, and he probably might win the Coach of the Year award for this year. And then go into a new team. If they have the same kind of success like Vegas had with that expansion draft that's going to take place and the trades that are going to happen so that certain players get taken and not picked, that might entice him enough to go there and say, hey, I want to compete and probably try and win a cup as an expansion coach. So maybe that's the deciding factor for him. I'm not sure, but I would say money talks.
It does to a point, but there's certainly something going on behind the scenes there that you won't sign an extent. There's something definitely fishy there, but yeah. So we're going to move ahead to the Toronto has just dominated the shit out of it. Austin Matthews has got 40 goals, and you got Babcock was there and Turner and Matthews together. Now Babcock's gone and they are playing together. And look what Marner's doing too as well. They're just playing very, very well. Edmonton, gave a fight in 53 games. 100 points, 53 games. And I think it's kind of funny is because people, I guess it's the Canadian media, are kind of used saying, oh, he scored 40 goals against the shit division. But yet they're praising McDavid for scoring 100 points in the same division. It kind of a weird flow there. Winnipeg also got in there, and Montreal's holding the last spot. I don't know if they locked it up. I think they only needed a win or so because Vancouver and Calgary had so many makeup games to play, but they were so far behind.
They have to win out.
I know if Montreal finishes fourth, they're going to play Toronto in the first round of the playoffs. That's going to be a huge deal in Canada. And I got to tell you, I'm not a fan of Montreal. I don't like them. I'm not a fan of Price. But I would love for them to upset because Toronto would burn. Toronto would burn. They would light the city on fire.
They had a great year.
That would be, and first of all, having gone to Montreal, that would be the biggest party in the world if they knocked them out. Even if they didn't win the Stanley Cup, if they knocked out Toronto, that would probably be good enough for them in Montreal. And I could only imagine the celebrations at Chez Parvé. So, that would be pretty interesting to see.
So out west, you got Vegas controlling the top spot. You got Colorado right behind them. You had a strong season from Minnesota, who's in third, and St. Louis just basically squeaked their way into the last spot for fourth. Their second half of the season was a struggle, though. I'll tell you, St. Louis.
Yeah, they're not getting the Binnington magic anymore. They were way down below what Vegas, Colorado, Minnesota did, and I think Minnesota was a bit of a surprise. Kaprizov really, I think he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. They played well, and Vegas just continues to be a continues to be a monster. But now I guess it's kind of funny because, past 2 years what they've done in the playoffs, but if they fail again, do you start not blowing the team up but making changes, and do you start to kind of call them chokers a bit?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be it's going to be there. It's going to be the elephant in the room, basically.
Yeah. So getting on to go.
So McDavid, like you were just saying before, is 100 points. McJesus, 100 points in 53 games. First time it's been done in 53 games or less since the 95-96 season, when Mario Lemieux reached 100 in 38 games. And Jaromir Jagr did it in the same season in 52 games. And let me just tell you, in 95-96, Connor McDavid wasn't even born yet. The guy was born in 1997.
You know what's crazy to me is that, we can debate the Gretzky era at a different time. But to do what they did in 95-96, you started to have much better goaltending and much better solid defenses throughout the league.
Yes.
The goaltending style changed. You had the Waz, and you had the Brodeurs and Hasiks. You had some real solid goaltending. And to do what they did, and even the defensemen as a whole, the defensemen were much better shape, and the schemes were much tighter. So what Lemieux and Jagr did is just absolutely incredible. And just think, 100 points in 38 games is just. Could you imagine if you had fantasy sports back then and you had Mario Lemieux? That'd be out of control.
Jesus, forget it. So let me ask you, Russ. McDavid, greatest player in the world right now, but the chatter off to the side is he had this great video game type season against a subpar division. So my question to you is it that he's just the best player in the world and is playing in a video game, or was the goaltending and the division being subpar what allowed him to rack up all these points that he did this year?
Probably a little bit of both. I think it has to also do with you're playing the same, few teams. I did get a little mundane, but you start to learn these teams, and they were just dominating. Him and Draisaitl just dominating left and right. But I still think he would have put up similar numbers in any other division. He really is just, I can't explain it. Austin Matthews is an excellent goal scorer, but McDavid is just all around the speed, the wherewithal, just everything. He's just unreal. And I can't help but say it. If you put him back in the, I think he could put up similar numbers. I think nobody would touch him. I don't think you could. The game was much more wide open then than it is now. People argue, the physicality. They were fighting, but right now, if you really look, the game now is much tighter and more physical.
Yep.
On a more physical, in general. Whereas people take that physicality for fights. It's not the same. The league is much tougher now and much tighter defensively than it was years ago. So I think he would run amok back in the day. But just some of the things he do is there are defensemen that know he's coming and can't do anything about it. He just blows past them.
Yeah. So we had some coaching changes that just happened recently. Rick Tockett's out in Arizona. You got John Tortorella not coming back in Columbus. The big question here in New York is David Quinn going to be staying with the Rangers? Today was the moving day. They packed up their lockers and their stuff, and as of now, I haven't heard anything about Quinn leaving. But there was a big shakeup at Madison Square Garden last week, and I want to get into this for a second with us being both big Ranger fans. And John Davidson and Jeff Gorton both fired after the Tom Wilson incident. The Rangers put out that statement calling for the head of player safety, George Parros, saying he's unfit for his position. And then Chris Drury gets named both president and general manager. Russ, I want you to start here. Tell me when you watched all of this transpire, what went through your head?
Well, the first thing is the Tom Wilson incident. It was a scumbag move, but
Absolutely.
was it as egregious as the letter stated? No, it was a cheap shot on Butch, sure.
Sure.
Slamming Artemi to the ground was a dick move and could have ended badly, but we've seen people comparing it to the Bertuzzi thing.
No.
Listen, they were a scumbag move, but all right, he got the maximum fine of $5,000. Maybe he should have been suspended for a game, maybe, but says they made it out to be. But I do laugh at the comparison that this was fined $5,000 for squirting with his water bottle.
Yeah.
And
seriously.
Yeah, with Wilson does this, but they send out this letter calling for Parros' head. It should have, people agree that it should have been handled on the ice. If they handle it on the ice that night, there's no letter the next day. They took it into their own hands, the way, I guess, people describe hockey karma, and it kind of made them look soft and whiny. And it says, like, all right, we're trying to cover the safety of our players. All right, we're a bunch of whiny. We didn't get our way, and we're a bunch of. The aftermath, though, is apparently Jeff Gorton and Davidson had issue with the letter, but that's the thing is we don't know what the issue was. Maybe they did want to handle on the ice the letter. I don't know. The word is that Davidson was instructed to fire Gorton, and he said no, and they were both fired. But then to come out and say, "Oh, they're underachieving," that's crap. Listen,
that's a bunch of crap. Absolutely.
If you're saying you're underachieving, then the first person that should go is Quinn. And if you look at what they've done, is any other division at the time of the firings, any other division except for the Central, they would have been in a playoff spot. In the Central, they would have been out by 2 games. They would have been, or 2 points, they would have been out of a playoff spot. So
they were in the mix no matter what.
We got dicked because of the division we played in, and that's fine. But to say they're underachieving and they're unrelated, listen, they had an issue with the letter, and like I said, is we don't know what the issue is. So to judge what side you're on is hard. And a lot of people love John Davidson, and he was brought in for his dream job, and he's a legend here. But I really feel bad that because I don't see him. Like I said, it's hard to know what his stance on what the letter was, and to say they're underachieving after 2 seasons and showing what this team is rebuilt to, that was just a bunch of crap.
So, I'm going to choose my words wisely here, but you have an owner who is an absolute jerk off that people don't like. And you saw what he did with the Knicks for all these years. And he let Glenn Sather, whether you liked him or not, run the team the way he ran it. And the owner did not do anything. You didn't hear from him. You didn't see him. You didn't see him. You didn't do any. He was off, playing in his band and, going to Knick games and doing whatever else he was doing. And the Rangers were fine. And then 3 years ago, you had that other letter come out that they were going to rebuild. And that was fine. You scrapped the team down to nothing. You accumulated your draft picks. And you said, we're going to rebuild. You won the lottery 2 years ago with the second pick. You drafted a kid. You brought in John Davidson. You had Gorton here already. You won the lottery altogether this year, and you get the number 1 pick. And you're the youngest team in the league. Did the owner really expect the Rangers to make the playoffs in the gauntlet of this division with Boston, the Islanders, as much as we hate them, we know they're a good team, the Capitals, the Penguins? I mean, how delusional can you be? And I know it's your team, but you lost Panarin for a dozen games, and that derailed things from the get-go. If he was in on the team for those games, I think it's a different story at this point, and you're not underachieving, and the injuries bit them. The last 2 games against the Islanders, you lost, and that was your season. I get it. But you practiced the concept of, we're going to do patience, we're going to build this the right way. I just don't get the firing of the GM, the firing of the president, and then you put Drury in place. And whether you liked him as a player or not, I don't care. I don't care if you liked him or not. He was a good player. He scored big goals. He's been involved in big games. Fine. I think at this point, he interviewed for other jobs and didn't get them or passed up on them or whatever the case was. And in New York, now, here, I see him interview and he's got the deer in the headlights. This guy is so over his head right now in this that within 3 to 4 years, I guarantee this guy is gone. Absolutely gone. I'm not a fan of him to run this team. You had 2 guys in place that next year was the playoff year. And if you didn't make it next year, you could have cleaned house with the coach, the president, and everyone else and said, hey, we're scrapping this. It didn't work. But to go on out on a limb like now, after the letter and everything else with Tom Wilson, firing these 2 guys and putting Drury in place, I'm not a fan of. And I'm as big of a fan as you are with this team. We've gone on road trips together. We've gone to dozen games all the time, spending boatloads of money. And the way they launch these 2 guys, absolutely disgraceful. And the owner is a joke. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's done to this team. Go ruin the Knicks. Leave the Rangers alone. They had the right idea, and you totally just screwed the pooch with what you did last week.
No, I agree. Listen, you could you could probably find arguments of Gordon, but even so, there was nothing that deserved firing. We had a winning record, played in such a tough division, and yeah, like I said, it was all a bunch of bullcrap. Saying it was unrelated. What were you expecting? We said we were going to rebuild. Yeah. They put the promise that we were going to see a cup again. But like I said, we're one of the youngest teams in the league and toughest division this year, roughly. You were expecting a cup this year. I mean, listen, the playoffs, it didn't work, but it's not like we were like our record was 20-33. I mean, completely sucked. We progressed
as they weren't at the bottom of the league.
Season went on, and like you said, you lost for over a little bit. You lost Mika because he played like shit with COVID, struggling with that. I mean, listen, overall, I think we had a decent season. And I know right now the big issue is what are they going to do with Quinn? And interviews, so you're wondering if it comes tonight or tomorrow. But my thing, I used to not think Quinn was the right person for this team. And I only started to change a little bit in the last week or so. Because obviously with Torts out in Columbus, the possibility of Brindamore, if he Gallant, is still a little free agent, I guess you would say. People are talking on Facebook and blogs, everything like it's already a done deal, and how Quinn isn't the right coach for this team. But I had problems with the fact that you had all these too many men penalties all last season, early this year. It did stop, but that's a coaching penalty. That's on him to not manage him switching his lines around a lot and not sticking with people, letting them develop chemistry was an issue. Everything as a whole. Panarin furthered himself. He became a much better player. Ryan Strome from that both. Even games that Panarin was out, Strome kept producing. And people arguing that he's not a second-line center. I still don't think he is. But the guy produced great numbers. Even Mika thrived under Quinn. He got either. Fox went from a rookie to a Norris Trophy candidate under him. Lindgren went from a rookie to an excellent, tough, stay-home defenseman. I think Trouba himself, I really wasn't that great. I thought this year he was excellent, and I know some people. Keandre Miller played well in the beginning of the year, but if you look, he's kind of fell off and looked like a deer in the headlights the last bunch of games, especially I'd say maybe the last 20 to 30 games. And I think Trouba carried him, and then Trouba going out, I think Keandre suffered a little bit. He had what he showed at the beginning of the season, but that's another story. I still think he's a good kid and a lot to develop. But if you look at that, played well. Blackwell played very well under him this season. A guy that's nobody knew who he was. He thrived under Quinn this season. Capo Caco. People harp on goals and points. There are points. People harp on that he didn't get a lot of points. That's great. But you get points tells me you didn't watch the fucking games because his play itself was exponentially better than last season. He looked a lot more hungry, looked better on the puck, looked better defensively, and even Lafreniere, he struggled at the beginning of the year, sure. The last 20 games here, he's really turned it on and looked very good. So if you look at the team as a whole, a lot of people, and Butch has had a career year. So all under Quinn. So you could put the argument that people have thrived under him. You know, he had a winning record. So I kind of got torn now. Do I still think he's the absolute coach? I don't know. But I'm a little more willing to say, all right, let's go forward a few months ago.
I'm afraid that this new GM now is in place, and he's going to get an itchy trigger finger and deal 2 or 3 of these young kids for a Jack Eichel or an enforcer in somebody else. And I don't think that's the right way to go. You're going to have another lottery pick, wherever that's going to be for this year. You're going to have a boatload of cap space. Re-sign these guys that need to get re-signed, and let's roll with this team one more year. And if it doesn't work, then you get rid of Quinn at that point.
I'm fine with bringing in the enforcer, but I still would like an enforcer that can play hockey, not the Dylan McElraths or Colton Morris that couldn't fucking play hockey.
Yes.
You know, I actually want somebody. You know, granted, it'll be a 4th-line player, but you need somebody to be feared. You know, people say, "Oh, we had Brendan Lemieux." Lemieux was cool. He was supposed to fill that Avery role, but he didn't really. Avery actually, could play hockey and was more of an agitator. Lemieux, do you think anybody actually came into the Garden and was like, "Oh my God, the guy Brendan Lemieux, we got to," I liked him. Don't get me wrong, but I agree though with adding some big grit, something that's gonna fight but still play hockey. As far as the Eichel goes, no. I think that Buffalo killed him, but he's already got a $10 million cap hit. You add that to Panarin and Trouba, right there you got 29.6 million in cap hit. That's fucking ridiculous among 3 players. Put us in cap hell. And I brought it up before that if you look what they did in Chicago, they gave Kane and Taves both $10 million. This is after the Cups. This is after the Cups. And since then, they've gone downhill and been in cap hell. And those are 2 great players. Yes, they deserved that money. They brought them a bunch of cups to Chicago, and they deserved that money. But it put such a hindrance on their cap. So trading for Eichel would do the exact same thing. And there's a lot of people to re-sign. All the kids have got to be re-signed in the next year or 2. And granted, if you're trading for Eichel, you're going to trade some of those people away. You're going to trade probably a Butch or a Cack or whatever. It's going to take something large to get Eichel. But you're still going to have to resign people. You're not trading Igor. So he's going to need to be resigned. I imagine he might get a decent contract if he has a good year next year. You got to resign Fox. If Fox wins the Norris, he gets re-signed next year. Fox wins the Norris. You're probably paying another $7-8 million right there. You're never going to be able to afford all these people. So that's my feeling on the Eichel.
I say roll with this coach one more year. I don't want to see Messier here. I don't want to see Babcock here. Listen, he had a young team in Toronto and ruined that.
Yeah,
Now you see
I
how
don't
good they
want
are with somebody
Babcock.
else. Maybe Gerard Gallant, okay, because I think
I
he was
love
good
Gallant,
in
but
Vegas.
I love Gallant, but like I said, I'm becoming more understanding that maybe Quinn deserves another year. But like I said, I'm on the fence with it. If he told me he's fired tomorrow, I'd probably go with it too. Like I said, a couple weeks ago, if he told me he was fired, I'd been like, all right, good. Looking back at it and everything that's changed, maybe it's not such, maybe that's not such the case. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Well, it's going to be interesting. We'll see. But let's get into some baseball here as we go. The AL East. We got the Red Sox leading with the best record in baseball at 22-13. The Yankees, big surprise here, only 2 games over 500 at 18-16. The Central, you got the White Sox with a 1-game lead over the Indians, who I might add have been no-hit this week. I'm sorry, have been no-hit this season twice already.
For a second time.
And then, yeah. And then in the West, you got the Athletics with a 21-15 record, but they're getting challenged by Houston at 18-16. The whole division is only separated by 4.5 games. So, I mean, that's close.
They're a tight one out West. Moving over to the National League, the Mets are holding a 1-game lead over the Phillies, but they keep doing Mets things. And Jacob deGrom now is on the injured list.
Yep.
So you got that. And then the big story is the rat-raccoon incident between McNeil and Lindor. So they got into nobody's really saying, but they pretty much got into a fight in the tunnel over a discrepancy on a ground ball earlier in the game. And players ran into the tunnel to break it up, and asked afterwards. Lindor said he saw a giant rat, and they were trying to argue because McNeil said it was a raccoon. And just fucking say you guys fought each other and got your grievances out. But that was pretty
Typical
interesting.
Mets.
I guess it is typical Mets shit. And, nothing surprises me anymore with this team. So, but yeah, DeGrom going on the injury list stinks. Hopefully soon Syndergaard will start throwing again. But the DeGrom thing is he had lat tightness, and then you see him in warm-ups shagging balls, and they made a big deal about him. Catching a high line drive, and next thing you know, he pitches half the game and gets tightness. So, but we'll see what happens there. And in the Central Division, the Cardinals keep rolling along at 20-14. They're starting to open up a lead on the Brewers, and basically this is the Cardinals' division to lose. So, unless they catastrophically meet their demise, I don't see anything bad happening. I don't see them losing this division. So, the West though is the wild, wild West. Up the rear, San Fran taking a position, the Dodgers. I think at one point they were 13-3. They've lost 15 of the last 20 games. They've lost 5 straight series.
Happened?
And they're looking for answers.
What happened there?
I don't know. They went ridiculously hot to start, and then the complete opposite since then.
So in the last week, you had John Means, never heard of him, from Baltimore, throw a no-hitter against Seattle. Wade Miley from the Reds, who I've heard of, no-hitter against the Indians. 4 no-hitters this season, not including the Bumgarner 7-inning no-hitter that we discussed previously. Over the top of your head, Russ, how many more do you say that we see this season? Would you put the over-under at 7? 7 total? 3 more?
I don't know about that. I told me there were 4 no-hitters in the first 35 games of the season. I would love to see the odds on that one.
Right?
But, I don't know. But I laughed though when you say John Means is you never heard of who he is, and I know who he is. He's the fucking asshole that when you play fantasy baseball, the other guy has matched up against you, and you throws a no-hitter. Where did this guy come from? You know exactly what I'm talking about too.
Yep.
You're playing your fantasy baseball matchup, and all of a sudden this guy has this nobody throwing no-hitter against you.
Yep, and then your week is done at that point because that guy just put up 60 points.
And I guess the other news, the sad news in around Major baseball is Albert Pujols was pretty much released by the Angels. First ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about that. Kind of sad to see. I think if anything, with his career, they should have let him finish out the season, even if he just spot started. They should have just let him finish out the season. I felt bad. I know David Ortiz and a few other players publicly were pissed at that, but to say that this guy, this legend, career come to an end for the most.
It'll be interesting to see if he catches on somewhere just to finish the season and then retire at that point. But he's definitely going to the Hall of Fame, 100% going first ballot.
All right, let's move on to the NBA. We'll let you with the West.
So in the East, you got Philly, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, all clinched their spots. The surprising Knicks holding on to that fourth spot. You got Atlanta and Miami rounding out the top six. That play-in little mini tournament that is coming down the pike is going to be Boston, Charlotte, Indiana, and Washington. Unless something strange happens, the Bulls and Raptors are on the outside looking in. I don't think they get in. What do you got out west, Russ?
Out west, you got Utah, Phoenix, the Clippers, Denver, and Dallas have all punched their playoff tickets. Portland hasn't clinched yet, but they're right there. The Lakers fell to 7th. That's the big news is can LeBron, get going? The injuries and everything have mounted up this season, so they've had it tough. But they're right now in the play-in tournament. They're right along with Golden State, San Antonio. New Orleans and Sacramento are on the outside looking in. But I'm interested to see how the Lakers and Golden State react with this play-in tournament. But the Lakers are a good team, but the injuries have taken us, falling down right now.
Oh, yeah.
So,
all right, Russ, let's get to some gambling. What do you got coming up for the degenerates?
All right, so my first week. It's a dragon. You got a dragon?
Oh, boy.
Oh, let's see. All right. we got a dragon on the back here. So anyway, I believe my first
NFT it. Make it an NFT.
I had 2.
Yeah, I got you.
You got me here? Am I losing connection again?
Yeah, I got you. No, we're good. Go ahead.
So my first week didn't go so well. I went 2 wins, 5 losses, 1 tie, 1 push. But I rebounded the second week with 2 wins, 1 loss, 2 pushes. And one of those pushes was PSG with a goal in the, whatever it was, the 90th minute or 89th minute that was VAR and taken away. So, but it was pretty good. Last week, I wasn't on the show, so I didn't get my picks, and I actually did pretty well. So we're going to roll into this week. On Wednesday, I'm going back to Belgium. That league is just a scoring machine. They're in their championship group. I got Genk at home versus Anderlecht. Genk's coming off a 3-2 win and a 3-0 win. Anderlecht is coming off 2 straight 2-2 draws, all scoring. The over 3 goals is at -120, so you got some good odds there. Continuing Wednesday, you got Italy, Sassuolo at Juventus. Actually, sorry, Juventus is at Sassuolo. Over 3, 123. Pretty good odds right there. Basically, Juventus is sitting in a Europa League spot and needs to overtake Napoli for a Champions League spot. And believe me, with the prestige of being Juventus, they do not want a Europa League spot. They want that Champions League spot. Sassuolo at the same time. I hope I'm saying that right. Sometimes you get these teams that you don't know you're saying. They're fighting as well, trying to get into the qualifications for Europa League. So they're still right there, fighting with Lazio. So I definitely could see this being a 2-1 game, but this really is a must-win game for Juventus. Moving over to Thursday, back to Belgium. Antwerp versus Club Brugge. Antwerp is coming off. It's basically the same thing: a 2-2 draw, a 3-2 loss, but scoring. Club Brugge 2-2 draw, 3-0 loss. But same thing, every game went over 3. So I'm sticking with the same cycle, over 3 goals, minus 110. Then we're going to Germany. The DFB Pokal, the Deutsche Football Bund, for the German Bundesliga. Basically, if you don't win the Bundesliga championship, this is pretty much the second best trophy, and teams still go all out. You got Red Bull Leipzig versus Dortmund. They just played the other day, and I believe it was a 3-2 win, and Dortmund didn't even have Erling Haaland. They're hoping to get him back, but they just played, and it was a bunch of goals. That game is over 2 3/4 at minus 103, so you got great odds there. And not only do they win a trophy, believe it or not, winning trophies is a big thing over there. The winner qualifies for the German Super Cup, which is basically they'll play the winner of the league, which is Bayern Munich, in like a super championship game. Also, they automatically qualify for Europa League if they haven't already qualified for Champions League. So there's a lot to play for in that title. Saturday, we're going back to Belgium. Genk and Anderlecht play again, and this is all in their championship group. Basically, what they do is you have your 15 teams, and then at the end of the season, you'll have the top 6 teams or top 4 teams play like a round robin tournament to decide who either then plays in the championship or wins. So they're playing again. The odds are not out on that, but look for the same thing, over 3. Belgium has done nothing but score for me this year, and that's the thing is they're not like a huge league like a Serie A or French League One, but they still play in Champions League, and they're still a decent enough league that you can find value in. Sunday, right now, Midgetland. I love saying that, Midgetland. They're playing Randers, and Midgetland is at home. They're looking at. They just won 3-0. They won 3-0, and then they had a 3-1 loss. Sorry, but right now they're looking to win the top spot, and Rangers is pretty much out of it. So I'm going Midgetland -1 to win by 1 goal, minus 125. At the same time, back to Belgium, Bruges and Antwerp play again. So that's the same thing. Your odds are not out, but you're looking for the over 3. And like I said, it's just Belgium. Every year there's always a couple leagues that become the niche scoring leagues, and this has been one of them. And to round out the gambling picks is actually back to Denmark, Copenhagen versus Brøndby. Copenhagen has had 8 straight games of 3 goals or more.
Oh,
yes.
You know what that means?
Yes, they're going to get shut out. What do you call it? Brøndby just won 3-1, and 5 of the last 6 of their games went 3 or more goals. So right now they're sitting at over 2 3/4 at minus 122. So good odds there. And that'll conclude the betting portion of the show. And all my papers just fell down.
Just remember, guys, don't bet over your head when we give you these.
And listen, if I start going on a bad losing streak, then take all my picks and just fade me.
There you go. Just go the other way around. That's all.
So
we're going to end
our show with the quote, WrestleMania quote of the week. Common sense is like deodorant. The people who need it the most don't ever use it.
All right. So this was a good show. Next week, we're going to be on Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern. We're going to do a little joint podcast show with Weirdo and Beardo. They got their own show. They're into crypto and stocks. They're from Boston. So we got the Boston, New York thing going on. And apparently there was a podcast beef that really wasn't on Twitter. We're going to get into that. We're going to find out why they got into the podcast world, and we're going to pick their brain on some stocks and some crypto. We'll get into a lot with them. But find us on Twitter at the E.A.T podcast. Tomorrow the stream will be on Spotify. Enjoy your week, everybody, and have a good night.
Peace.